Hey guys, let's talk about Haleigh Ann Marie Cummings. Haleigh was born on August 17th, 2003, and she's been missing since February 9th, 2009 from Satsuma, Florida. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5 years old, 3 feet tall, and 39 pounds. She's a Caucasian female with blonde hair and brown eyes. Her ears are pierced, and she has red highlights in her hair. She has a round birthmark on the lower left side of her back, about 4 inches in size. She also has brown birthmarks on her left cheek and right jawline. Her nickname is Haleigh Bug. Haleigh is short for her age. She has a lazy left eye, and she has chubby fingers and toes. Haleigh has been diagnosed with Turner syndrome, a genetic disorder present in approximately 1 out of every 2,500 live female births. Turner syndrome features may include, but are not limited to, restricted growth of the long bones and ovaries, heart defects and vision problems, multiple birthmarks, and swollen fingers and toes. Most people with Turner syndrome don't grow to be more than 4.5 feet tall. Haleigh requires hormone treatments and monthly visits to a cardiologist and an endocrinologist due to her condition. She may be in need of medical attention. Haleigh was last known to be sleeping in her family's trailer in the 200 block of Green Lane in the area of Hermit's Cove in Satsuma, Florida, late in the evening on February 9th, 2009. She went to bed at 8 p.m. Her father's living girlfriend of 5 months, Misty Jeanette Crosland, sometimes identified in the media by her later married name, Misty Cummings, went to sleep in the same room at 10 p.m. Haleigh's 3-year-old brother was also sleeping in that room. Haleigh's father, Ronald LeMiles Cummings, finished working second shift and arrived home sometime after 3 a.m. on February 10th. Misty told him she just discovered Haleigh was missing from her bed. The rear door to the trailer was several inches ajar, and the screen door had been propped open with a cinder block. Ronald and Misty called 911 at 3:37 a.m. to report Haleigh's disappearance. The police found no sign of forced entry to the trailer, but they're uncertain whether the back door was locked. Ronald and Misty have insisted that it was, and Ronald maintains the trailer was broken into. Haleigh's younger brother told investigators that a man dressed in black had come to their home that night and taken his sister. Authorities aren't sure how much credence to give to his story given his age. An extensive search of the area turned up no sign of Haleigh. Her father stated she wouldn't have left home by herself at night, as she's afraid of the dark. Initial reports were that Haleigh was last seen wearing a pink shirt and underwear. The police later said they found the shirt. They wouldn't say where, but Misty says she found it in the laundry pile after she was allowed back into the house. Investigators now say they don't know what Haleigh was wearing the night of her disappearance. Ronald and Misty got married in March, a month after Haleigh's disappearance. Ronald stated that he thought Haleigh would have wanted it. They needed to get permission from Misty's parents, as she was only 17 years old. In October 2009, 6 months into the marriage, Ronald filed for divorce. He cited irreconcilable differences as the reason, mainly the stress caused by Haleigh's disappearance, subsequent police investigation, and media attention. The divorce became final within days. Since Ronald and Misty had only been married a short time and they didn't share any property or have any children together, there was little to discuss. Haleigh visited her biological mother, Crystal Sheffield, every other weekend. She and Ronald, who never married, separated 4 years before Haleigh disappeared and fought over custody over their 2 children in court. Ronald wanted custody because Sheffield had admitted to using cocaine and because Haleigh had missed several doctor's appointments while in her care. Sheffield alleged Ronald was violent. She once sought protective order against him, but the case was dismissed. Ronald was given full custody of both children in December 2005. He had minor brushes with the law, mainly drug arrests, prior to Haleigh's disappearance, but in most cases the charges were dropped or he got deferred adjudication. Both Sheffield and Ronald retained attorneys after Haleigh's disappearance. Through her attorney, Sheffield accused Ronald of child abuse and neglect. Both sides' attorneys have since withdrawn their representation. Police also questioned Sheffield's fiancé as well as other family members, friends of the family, and neighbors. Police repeatedly questioned Misty about Haleigh's disappearance and looked into the possibility that she wasn't in fact at home when the child disappeared. Misty describes herself as a devoted caregiver to Haleigh and her brother and said she had been home the entire night and hadn't left the children alone. Investigators have been publicly skeptical of Misty's story, stating she failed 4 polygraphs and 1 voice stress test and changed her story multiple times. They described her accounts as, quote, consistently inconsistent, unquote. Misty and her older brother, Hank Tommy Crosland Jr., later accused Joseph Joe Overstreet of kidnapping Haleigh. Overstreet, who was from Tennessee, was in Florida when the child disappeared. He visited the Cummings home on February 9th and left only a few hours before Haleigh vanished. The next day, he returned to Tennessee. Misty states Overstreet had SA'd her when she was a child and had been involved in criminal activity his whole life, although he is not registered as a sex offender. Tommy was the first to accuse Overstreet of kidnapping, stating Overstreet planned to steal a machine gun from the Cummings residence and, when he couldn't find it, he threatened Misty with a knife and took Haleigh. Overstreet and Tommy drove to the St. Johns River, 5 miles from Haleigh's home, and Overstreet threw the child into the water. Misty later affirmed this statement, saying she had lied earlier because she was afraid of her cousin. Overstreet denies any involvement in Haleigh's disappearance, and he hasn't been charged in connection with it or even named as a suspect, although he has been interviewed. Authorities searched the river in April 2010 and brought Misty to the dock, but the search yielded nothing of interest. Misty, Tommy, and Ronald were arrested on unrelated drug trafficking charges in January 2010, along with Ronald's cousin, Hope Antoinette Sykes, and a friend, Donna Michelle Brock. Sykes, Tommy, Ronald, and Brock all pleaded guilty, and Misty pleaded no contest. All the defendants except Misty were sentenced to 15 years in prison. Misty got 25 years. Misty and Tommy's parents, Hank and Lisa Crossland, were also jailed on drug charges, albeit one's unrelated to their children's drug case, in the summer of 2010. They have all since been released. Overstreet also is facing drug charges in Tennessee. Haleigh's favorite food is macaroni and cheese, and her favorite things to play with are makeup, laptop, computer. At the time of her disappearance, she was a kindergarten student at Browning Pierce Elementary School in San Mateo, Florida. Her case remains unsolved and is classified as a homicide. If you have any information, please call the Putnam County Sheriff's Office at 386-329-0801.